Welcome to this Pride of Dakota feature. If you enjoy a good story that not only entertains but then sneaks up and teaches you a life lesson, you would certainly appreciate a book full of those types of stories. Perhaps you're looking for that next book to buy that gift for someone special. In this feature, we'll talk to Ryan Taylor about his series of books chock full of cowboy logic from his life experiences right here in North Dakota. Ryan Taylor has been writing his cowboy logic columns for regional magazines in the U.S. and Canada since 1994. These columns have been compiled into a trilogy of books, including the titles A Collection of Cowboy Logic Continues, and finally, Cowboy Logic Family Style. Joining us in the studio is author Ryan Taylor. Ryan, welcome.
Thanks, Scott. There's a lot of cowboy logic there.
That is a lot of cowboy logic. So you're a rancher by trade.
I'm fourth generation on our ranch up at Towner, a little town of 550 people or so, and a lot of cows, and we're on a place that was homestead in 1903, and
Wow.
I grew up in a family that appreciated both cowboy life and ranching, but also writing. My mother was a writer in our small town paper, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then I went to college and combined both. Learned about ag economics and also mass communications. So I get to do a little of both.
So over 100 years of ranching experience on the farm and the fourth generation and now the writing, I'm sure all these stories kind of piled up. And
they do. And I always said, writing's good therapy and it's cheaper than a psychiatrist. So we do that, kind of for our own sanity a little bit. And I'll find my self-quoting my father or my mother in some of these stories. They were good characters and good people that certainly people in our little area would appreciate, but I get to share that with a wider audience now.
it's kind of a legacy of wisdom that gets passed down.
Well, we like to think so, and hopefully I'm doing a little bit of that with our own three children, and maybe what I've written down here, they'll at least have some recollection of that for generations to come and their kids or maybe even grandkids.
Now, you've been doing this since 94. You're featured in how many magazines?
I think there's about 7. It's mostly, kind of regional ag magazines. It's up in Canada, across the prairies in Western Producer. It's in Oregon. It's in Idaho, Nebraska. Ag Week in North Dakota, that's my home paper that we started with, published by the Grand Forks Herald. And then North Dakota Horizons picks them out 4 times a year for their quarterly magazine.
Fantastic. Do you mind giving us a sample of one of these stories?
Yeah, I sure could. There's, this new book, Cowboy Logic Family Style, I'll read this one from, is not all about family stories, but the first chapter is. And here's one that I had a lot of response to, and that at least certainly a lot of parents will resonate with, whether they're on the ranch or off the ranch. It's called Sidekick, Daddy Daycare on the Ranch. There's a new hired hand on the Taylor Ranch. He works cheap. 3 square meals, at least as many diapers, and the occasional juice box. He's just over 2 years old, long on ambition, but short on direction. Since the new baby brother hit our house, Big Brother Bud has become my full-time sidekick. Like Matt Dillon and Festus, the Lone Ranger and Tonto, Bert and Ernie. We look out for each other. He has all the qualities of a good sidekick, faithful, helpful, ready to go at the drop of a hat. He doesn't travel light, though. It used to be I could pull down my hat, head out the door, and go to work. Not so now. These days, I need to make sure I have a sippy cup, a blankie, a little container of raisins, a spare diaper, and some wet wipes. The back of my pickup has about as many toys as it does tools. You can always spot a daddy rancher. Just look in the back of his pickup and see if there's a toy dump truck and a bulldozer back there with his fence stretcher and his post hole digger. We're still working on channeling his energy. Sometimes the bulldozer fills up my post hole while I'm digging it. Most times I can stay ahead of him. He's pretty good at bringing me stuff, even stuff I don't need, but it pleases him to bring me every tool out of the toolbox, or to empty a can of nails one by one. And it keeps him occupied. It doesn't take me so long to put them back en masse. He helps me appreciate my surroundings. Windmill, windmill, windmill. Cows, cows, cows. Trees, trees, trees. You can't slip anything by him. And he appreciates quick confirmation of everything he's identified. I guess you could say that my firstborn and I are spending a lot of quantity time together. There may be some quality to the quantity, but basically our relationship is blessed with sheer volume. It's a lucky father who has that opportunity. It reminds me of the barn cat theory of parenting related to me by a reader who is a farm-raised family doctor. He figures children are like the batch of kitties you find in the haymow of your barn. You have to get out there and start petting and playing with them when they're little, before their eyes are open. Lots of love early on, and you'll have cats that are tame and useful their whole life through. If you wait too long to spend any time with them and their eyes open up without any taming and petting, you'll have a barn full of hissing, spitting cats that'll be wild the rest of their days. When it comes to children, the time their eyes open up is teenage adolescence, and the time to be with them and tame them down is when they're infants and toddlers and little kids. Everything I do on the ranch takes twice as long when my sidekick is helping me. But it's not wasted time. I'm sure there'll be days to come when his eyes open up, and I won't be his idol, and he won't be my sidekick. Right now, he's pretty sure I hung the moon, and I think life on the ranch would be pretty dull without him. I wouldn't call him tame by any means, but we are putting in the time.
That is fantastic. A lot of your stories are both humorous and some of them are heartfelt and some of them are a little of both, just like the Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, they're pretty short and they're light, and it's just every once in a while you'll be struck by something out there on the ranch, and it could be whatever you do in life, whether you're raising cattle or working a job in town, and something happens and you realize, hey, there's something significant here. And I just have been blessed with the chance to put it down on paper or type it up on the screen and then share it with other people, and I consider myself pretty lucky to be able to do that.
I think that's quite a legacy you're leaving behind for not only your kids, but the rest of us in North Dakota. So speaking of sharing with others, if someone wants to get a hold of that collection of books, what's the best way to do that?
Best way would be to go to my website, www.mycowboylogic.com. So mycowboylogic.com. And they can find me on Facebook. Ryan Taylor's Cowboy Logic is the tagline, and both sites have a store, so they can buy with credit card, and it comes right into the shipping department at the Taylor Ranch, and either my wife or I will hand address an envelope, stick it in the mail 3 miles from our house, and the mailman will pick it up, and off it goes to your home.
And if you're also on Twitter, you're at My Cowboy Logic on Twitter as well.
You bet. We're pretty social folks. We can tweet, and we can post, and we can like, and we can share. We do it all. So,
Ryan, we thank you so much for stopping by and sharing some of your Cowboy Logic with us today.
Well, thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure.
For more information on this Pride of Dakota featured member, or to find other feature podcast episodes, visit our website at prideofdakota.com or join the conversation at facebook.com/prideofdakota.